Hi everyone. Today we'll be talking about Powerful Woman, Bleeding with Pride, a call to converge for menstrual dignity with Madhvi Dalal. Before we start, we'll be playing a video that I have to pause because I forgot to add the sound. So just give me a second, some technical difficulties here. This is just a video regarding the theme of the day. Here.
Welcome to Day 4 of Catalyzing Change Week 2025. The UNHCR in April 2025 recorded that there were approximately 122.1 million forcibly displaced people in the world. How do we provide support services, assimilate refugees into societal systems? How do they afford basic rights, even as they flee widespread violence, hunger, and conflict? Our theme for today reflects the issues around civic participation, peace, and justice in the journeys of refugees and migrants. Change is only lasting when people have a voice in shaping it. Civic participation is about more than being present. It is about building systems where every voice carries weight and where communities can take part in designing their own futures. Peace and justice are the foundations on which all progress depends. They take root when dialogue replaces division and cooperation overcomes conflict. And in the stories of refugees and migrants, we see both struggle and strength. Displacement tests resilience, but it also reveals new possibilities for innovation, solidarity, and renewal when dignity is protected and contributions are valued. This day invites us to listen deeply, to question what justice truly looks like, and to imagine how inclusive societies can be built stronger and more united. Welcome to the sessions presented by Catalyst Now.
So today we also ask you to how to follow some housekeeping rules. Keep your video on if it's possible. Share your name and company in the small part of the Zoom where you can add and rename yourself. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, unmute when you speak, and if you have any technical questions, please reach out to me. Today with us we have Madhvi Dalal, I'm so sorry. Madhvi is a multifaceted person, a pharmacist, dancer, choreographer, Reiki master, yoga instructor, specializing in prenatal yoga, and a social entrepreneur. Her exemplary work in each has won her 10 awards, including the Bayer Foundation Women's Achievement Award, Welsh Asian Women's Achievement Award 2 times over, and the TAWAA Power Women of the Year Award. Madhvi and her work have been recognized by the Welsh Government as one of the powerful ethnic minority women in Wales. Additionally, she has been selected to advise on the Roundtable for Period Dignity in Wales by the national government. Madhvi has been invited to speak at global platforms, including being personally invited by the First Lady of Turkey at the Zero Waste Forum, as well as by Professor Muhammad Yunus to present on the circular economy at the Global Summit in Turin, 2022. And later in Kenya at Yunus organization conferences, she was also chosen as a speaker at Davos at the World Economic Forum 2025. As the founder and executive director of PadMa, a social enterprise addressing period dignity, Madhvi provides pro bono education on MHM and CRHR while empowering marginalized women to manufacture reusable, 100% biodegradable sanitary kits. The latest factories are based inside and outside prisons, working to empower incarcerated women. PadMa also runs an MHM in the workplace program supporting menstruators in corporate and factory settings. To date, PadMa has impacted 150,000 beneficiaries with over 100,000 reusable pads, preventing 72 million single-use plastic pads from ending in landfills, and increased more than 3.5 million days of school attendance. Madhvi was featured in the documentary Powerful Women, which won 11 European awards, and in Bleed with Pride, shortlisted for 4 awards at the Cannes Lions Festival 2025. She was also filmed by a team sanctioned by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to highlight PadMa's work. Madhvi was selected to advise on the technical committee in setting reusable pad standards with the Kenyan Bureau of Standards, and she represents Kenya for ISO standards. She also sits on the board and committees of various social bodies and schools, pharmacy, and yoga councils. Madhvi has appeared in national and international newspapers and TV for her professional contributions and philanthropic work. She continues to collaborate with UNICEF, Aris International, and the governments of Kenya and Wales, Elishu Kipchoge, and others to create positive and sustainable change in society. This is who we have with us today. She is an amazing entrepreneur, and please, Madhvi, you have the floor.
Thank you. I didn't recognize all that, but welcome everyone. My name is Madhvi. So I have a presentation, and then we're going to watch a short movie, which is what was mentioned earlier. If after that you wanted to ask any questions, I'll still be here. I have on my team also Liz Njeri Kamau. She's also here with us to answer any questions. So yeah, we can start. So PadMa, we're an organization. We work with menstrual dignity. We're based in Kenya, and we work on many things in Kenya, and we've been around for a few years. And yeah, you can change the slide. You can change the slide. Okay. So I think already most of you know that period poverty is a coined term. And when I first started working in this, is basically I used to teach yoga and dance in the urban slums in Nairobi, and after about 1.5 years or 2 years, I started getting a good rapport with the girls, and then that's when they told me they're missing school not because of they're sick, but because of their period, and I didn't quite understand that, and so I Googled it, and I came across this word called period poverty, and it's basically defined as the lack of access or affordability of sanitary products during the menstrual cycle. So I started, moving around different parts of the country to see, what is the problem, how big is the problem, why is the problem. And so I remember when I was in up country where we're talking to some street women, and they said they would go through other people's trash to see if they can get a used pad in which they could use just for a couple of hours just to be able to, sell the tomatoes or so. Or one of the girls told me in an orphanage in Nairobi that she would have sexual favors with a teacher, and then depending on the quality of sex, she would get 1 or 2 packs. And there some people would use leaves. So that's when I started doing more and more research and really trying to understand what the problem was. So if we can change the slide. Okay. So the problem here, basically, in Kenya, 65% of the girls and women cannot afford pads, out of which 1 million are actually missing school because of this. And when they miss school or work, obviously they get on the back foot. They cannot be on par with their the male peers. And so if they, lucky enough to go into secondary school, we are still in a situation where if they're going to miss a quarter of the curriculum, basically 4.9 days of school are missed a month, which is a quarter of the curriculum. If they're going to keep missing school, they're going to not have the same kind of equal opportunity to go into tertiary education or to sustain a full-time job or maybe a formal job. And that's how we find that if we can help this child who's lucky enough to go into school or secondary school to make sure she's staying in school. So there's many reasons why we are doing what we do. We also found that disposable pads are made up of 90% plastic. In places like Kibera, they're called flying pads, where, a girl would just, if they have a pad, they would put a soil pad, just throw it over their shoulder, and maybe the dog takes it away, or maybe it just lands into the pit latrine. If they're in school, the pit latrine, the wash system gets clogged. So the plastic pollution, especially in the marine areas, is immense. So between so many things, missing school, missing work, environmental issues, we really thought about what can we do. We first of all, it was hard enough to understand that in this day and age where AI is really moving fast and the world is moving fast, and people are going to rockets, how can we still have the problem, and how can we actually find a sustainable way to solve this problem? So which is why we came into this, what PadMa looks like now. It was very different back in the day, but now we have a very holistic approach to how we deal with things. We are working layer on layer and understanding and getting feedback from our beneficiaries to really create this ecosystem where we are making sure that we're solving the problem through the roots, and more importantly, bringing dignity to every one of us. So we work on three main pillars. One is education, which we go into schools, teach boys and girls, like was mentioned earlier about menstrual health, SRHR. We go into communities, speak to chiefs or teachers or parents about the same, and speak about taboos, infections, etc. We also run MHH clubs in schools where the idea is to have peer-to-peer conversations which are healthy, but more importantly, they can go into their schools or communities with accurate information. We also have the same in workplaces where we go into factory settings where it's predominantly run maybe by women workers, so maybe they're single moms and they lack sanitary pads. And maybe what we do is to go into the hierarchy and understand how can we increase the efficiency if these ladies had enough or ample period products, which are always serving them. And so therefore they're not getting infections and they're able to go to work and then efficiency increases. We also run a program, training of trainers, where we find advocates within the community who can do what we are doing so that it's a continuous process. And so they're also culturally sensitive about their area. And so we give them information, we share our knowledge, and those are the programs for education. Our other pillar, so to speak, is we're working with empowerment. So we started working with women and some men who we think may be not able to sustain a formal job. So, for example, like was mentioned in the ex-business, but more importantly, even teen mothers, for example, or just generally who would not be able to sustain a formal job. We're bringing them into our program, training them, mentoring them, and employing them. Recently, we've also industrialized some of our processes of production so that we can increase the capacity. We, in conjunction with the same line and the same thread, we actually work with textile companies who then provide the seed, the cotton seed, which is employing in turn hundreds of women in places like Lamu or Kilifi or Meru. And these women then, harvest the cotton. We use the waste cotton so that we're making sure that the textile industry is also not wasting and not, incinerating their waste products. We're using their waste products so that overall working with circularity and bringing the waste in the whole process, coming to zero eventually. So but our product is also environmentally friendly. So not only is it a long-lasting product, it lasts at least 5 years, but my kit has lasted 7.5 years. But the more important thing is made of a natural product, which is grown in Kenya, manufactured in Kenya. And so even if you had to dispose this product off, it would take, actually, by statistics, it takes a banana peel longer to biodegrade than the product itself. But the idea is obviously to keep it as long as possible and to make sure that we're using less and less disposable products. I think we can move the slide. So this is what our day usually looks like between me and my team. We would go into school, we would educate them, depending, there could be a workshop of 30 people, there could be a workshop of 300 people. Sometimes we've had thousands of people at one workshop. And the idea is not to just teach, is to have a discussion, to understand what their queries may be, especially for boys who, we always insist that the boys are there. But the more important thing is that we share their joy and we understand what it really means to be there in this situation. And it's not just about giving out products, it's definitely not just about giving out one-time use products. This product is more about understanding what is needed. And we also go through things like, yes, okay, if you don't have enough water, what does it really mean? How do you actually maintain hygiene of the product? Or, you're too shy to dry the product outside. How do you deal with that? So these are the conversations we have, and what we try and make sure that we're doing, that once we leave, there will be a deeper understanding of menstrual health, hygiene, any taboos or things which are we demystified, but more importantly, to leave a healthy and safe space for them to have their own conversations between them once we've left. Okay, you can change slide, please. This I want to just leave for a bit later after the movie, and it's basically what we are trying to bring into the substance is dignity for the women, but dignity also for their daughters. And generally, it's not what we focus on only. We bring in men into these conversations, we bring in the community into these conversations, and we really want to understand that this is a problem which, if we work together, can be solved very easily in many layers, as we demonstrated. You can change the slide, please. So here, again, the use of reusable products is increasing as time goes by, because people do understand that this earth is in trouble and we really need to find alternatives. If you think about it, just about 50 or 60 years ago, our mothers were using reusable diapers, reusable pads. So we're coming back into this generation where people are really understanding and really needing to use sustainable products, and therefore the compound annual growth rate is set to increase by 13% by 2030. And in Kibera alone, or even if you take Africa alone, 1.2 billion girls and women are in need of these pads. So you can imagine the market is huge. I think you can change the slide. Our impact so far, as was mentioned earlier, is 150,000 women, men, girls that we've impacted. But more importantly, what is not shown here is really the feeling that we understand and we see. We see the dignity. We see that the girls are excited to go into sports. They have their own like football matches now. We see that people who we've seen and who've gone through our education, who are more empowered and more willing to talk about this more freely. And we see that, the girls who used to miss school, not only because they didn't have enough pads or used mattresses or something, but then who were also missing further school because of infection. Now, they not only are not missing school, they're able to attend exams and are performing well in school. So those are the kind of things that we feel and see and hear when we're on the ground, which really doesn't reflect on these numbers. Yeah, that's the halo impact that we are very proud of. I think you can change the slide, please. So this is Gladys. She's our head tailor. The reason why I have her on this is because she is exactly what we are all about. Her husband went through cancer a couple of years ago, and she really did not know how to sustain him. She basically did what she did best, is to work hard. The money that she earned from PadMa is what helped him go through chemotherapy, good nutrition, lab tests, doctors, etc. And that's what sustained him. He's well now. He's going. And so in turn, she has her own little micro enterprise where she is employing people, and that's what we like to see. That within this context, that is what we are trying to do in the real world. Okay, we can change. So before we finish, I think we'll have about 9 minutes of a documentary. After the documentary, this is the documentary which was recently shortlisted in the Cannes Film Festival. It tells a lot about what we do. But after that, if anybody has any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
In Kenya, the opportunity for women are very low. They believe that women cannot do anything.
My name is Madvi. By profession, I'm a pharmacist. Recently, I moved from the UK to Kenya, and now I'm running a social enterprise, and we're working with period poverty. Reality is actually very different to what you read. For example, UNICEF have reports or what people go through. Financially, there's a lot of disparity. You know, what you see around your social circle is so different to what you see outside. The fact that corruption can be anywhere in all forms, that kind of inequality disturbed me quite a lot. Sometimes I used to just think that, how is this so unequal? The reason why I actually started doing what I do is when I was documenting my findings. So we were filming in one of the slums here in Nairobi. I was just going through the normal questions, you know, where do you get your pads, how do you get them? So one of the girls actually said, I get them from here. So she pointed into this orphanage, and I said, well, I'm sure you don't get them from here, because at that time we were giving them money, donating money for food. So I said, you know, I know this slum is not very well off, so tell me where. And she said she gets it from a teacher. So she walked me through where she gives sexual favors to that teacher, and she ended the conversation by saying, depending on the quality of sex, I get 1 pack or 2. And I just remember how I was feeling, but that girl goes through it month on month. That was her way of staying in school. So it just put things into perspective. And I said, you know, what is actually the problem, and why is there a problem? Jina langu ni Madvi. Nimekuja from PadMa. I have come to teach you about menstrual health, hygiene, and sexual and reproductive health rights, okay? Yes. Why do you feel shy, sad when you have your period, Rose? Endelea?
When you don't have any time. Because boys, they will laugh me.
Because boys laugh at you.
Before Madvi came, most of our girls, they used to go and sleep with men so that they may get money to buy the pads.
We had to go and sleep with mans there to get just only a pad. When you go and sleep with those mans, you cannot know even that man can have AIDS, and then it's paid for you.
When the kids were not going to school, and when you know, girls were sleeping around with different men for shoes or for food or for pads, ultimately they're falling pregnant.
There are many girls that they're pregnant, they want to abort.
Our parents cannot buy pads because 1 packet of pad is 80 bob, and the 80 bob can help in buying the food for us to eat. You are going on a period, you don't have pads, so you find that your clothes of school are leaked.
They will not come to school because they also fear that the others will laugh at them. They start to look in files.
They get pads from the trash, somebody's used pad. Mattresses, rags, those are quite common. And ultimately, some of these things actually cause rashes or even infections. I wanted to find an answer to the problem, which was not just about bringing a sustainable solution, but more about bringing in a profound symbolism. And this symbol was always on their culture. Headscarves in Africa symbolize respect, beauty, and pride. That's why PadMa, together with a group of elderly women from Kenya, those who lived through that pain, wanted to deliver that element and transform that into menstrual pads. In every thread, a story of strength. In every wave, the rise of a generation rooted in culture, rising with dignity. I started training women who were marginalized. So we have lots of categories, HIV positive, for example, teen moms, single mothers, widows. But all they do is give us labor. So we control what we buy, have it cut, wash it, dry it, and every single thing when it comes back to us is checked for quality.
I started working here at PadMa because I'm passionate about women empowerment. So for me, it was an important thing to start sewing the reusable sanitary towels so that we're able to help those girls who are not able to buy them.
Nakupatia hii ikue for your dignity, ikusaidie maishani ya baadaye na beauty.
Ushakuwa msichana mkubwa sahi na nilikuwa nataka kukuonyesha hii nikupatie. Msichana wangu, umekuwa msichana mkubwa. Nimekuletea zawadi. Hii ni zawadi ambayo itakusaidia kwa maisha yako.
I'm giving you this. This is your pride, your future, and your dignity.
Once you have a problem, you have to find it in yourself to find a sustainable solution for yourself or for your society or for your community. Is really education.
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 Education. Education. Education. And love.
You do not need anyone to buy you pads, okay? Especially not a boy. Especially not a man from outside. Senior tuko pamoja?
Yes. The biggest role that PadMa has played in this situation is retaining more girls in school, which is a plus because we're going to reduce the number of school dropouts due to teenage pregnancy that is also linked to lack of sanitary towels, the disposable ones.
My dream really is to be able to eradicate period poverty, to empower girls, women, and boys. So when period poverty is eradicated, everybody can be on par. Education can be something which is not a priority, which is almost a necessity, and then we can all work together.
A powerful woman is a woman who has a voice. It's a woman who wants to stand for her value. It's a woman who knows that I can make it.
A powerful woman is that who sees she has a strength and also wants to help other people to reach to her level or can even just stay aside and let them go even beyond her.
We are strong. We are strong. We are strong women in Kenya.
Thank you for that. So I'm here in case anybody has any questions.
Well, first, before anyone has any questions, I just want to thank you. This is indeed a very powerful movie. and it made me weep a little bit, but that's because I'm a very emotional person. And it has a beautiful story. So thank you so much for sharing it, and thank you so much for doing the work that you're doing. Maybe I can start with one of the questions too, before I hand it over to someone else. And this might be a little bit of an open-end question, but what was the biggest struggle for you personally when starting to do this work?
I think that for the struggle was perhaps I didn't understand the layers of the problem. I thought the problem was the lack of sanitary pads. But then as I went into the whole understanding of it, there's a lot more than just the sanitary pads. And so then if that was the case, then how do we do this without making people more needy, or how do we do this so that we make sure that the girls are going to school, or whatever our mission is, how do we make sure this is possible? So I think it took us a long time to understand the layers. The PadMa, the way it looks now, like right now, is not the way we started. First, I was so naive. I was taking like collecting old t-shirts from friends and family, cutting them into shapes, going to school with needles and threads and showing them how to make them, just to think that, okay, you guys, you can, if you learn how to make one, you'll learn how to make, you can make enough for yourselves and for your moms. And I really thought that was going to solve the problem. And because that fell flat a little bit, obviously, then I said, okay, let's teach the mums in the community. Let's start little stations where we can train people how to make these pads, and maybe they'll make enough for themselves and then for the community, and they'll sell, and then they live happily ever after. And that really also was not a great idea. So I think understanding the layers of the problem took me some time.
Thank you so much. Maybe if anyone has any questions, you can leave them on chat, or you can open your mics and do them. Feel free to interact with Maddy.
It would be good for me to know to know where everyone's from and what interests them here, maybe. Anyone want to share?
Go on, Bridget.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever everyone is. My name is Bridget Chalimpa Babagumira. I am from Kampala, Uganda, very close, just in the neighborhood. And I, first of all, want to commend you for the amazing work you're doing, and all the lives you're changing for those young girls. We also have similar, almost exactly the same challenge as well, especially in the rural, outcasts of Kampala. And we have resorted to reusable sanitary towels as well. And so many of the girls are now in school full time. They don't have to miss school because they don't have pads. And then right now, our biggest challenge are the refugee settlement camps, because there we don't have enough supply to give to everybody else, to reach out to everybody else. So I don't know if it's possible, or if we're able to maybe partner with you, because we haven't been making from scratch like you have been doing. We have been buying, and I think your approach is way much better, because you're able to tackle the issue of employment, and I mean unemployment, and then also you're able to keep making, and it's much better. I'm sure it's more sustainable versus having to buy the reusable ones. So hopefully maybe in the future we can collaborate and see how maybe if you're hoping to expand to Kampala, Uganda as well, and have your initiative grow here as well. It's I don't know what your thoughts are. When you kept talking us through the video especially got me thinking and made me realize that it would be a much better approach having a group of women making them versus us buying them. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your question. Actually, that is exactly where we are. And Bridget, I have a question for you. Are you working individually or are you part of an organization or company?
I am part of an organization called African Feminist Research Initiative for Advocacy and Development. And one of our thematic areas is sexual reproductive health rights. And
so then that means you
rights.
buy the products within Uganda?
Yes, we there's a company that makes, but it's not owned by like fully women. It's a big corporation.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. So what we are doing here is we understand that, by sending our pads to Uganda, it does not make sense because A, it's expensive and it's we can't do that for the whole world. But what we are working on is social franchising. So whatever we've learned, for example, you have the UBS, we have the KEBS certification, or we have the licensing, we have all the different formalities that we have to go through. For example, our survey, what it looks like, all the learnings that we have, we are able to share the knowledge with you in Uganda or someone else somewhere else, so that you can keep with the standards, keep with the whole vision and mission that we have, but tweak it to your context. So I think that will be very useful for you. So what I suggest maybe is if you take my email address, and then we can keep in touch, and then we can see how, if it benefits you, kind of making your program a little bit more robust, we'd be happy to help.
Okay, thank you. I'll appreciate it very much.
I'll put my email in the chat, and then you can just send me an email.
Okay. All right. So maybe one question, did you already have like these structures in place where the ladies, did they need to learn how to like make the pads, like the sewing and the tailoring? Did you have like training sessions and then did you have like a target of how many women are doing this? And did you also supply the sewing machines? Did they already have them in place? So those are some of the questions I would want.
Yeah, I understand exactly. So no, we've learned along the way, and which is why we realize that this is something that we should be sharing, because it's not the easiest journey. So no, we have to train, and because Kenya at that time, Uganda already did, but Kenya didn't even have reusable pad standards. So in conjunction of us manufacturing, we were working with the Kenya Bureau of Standards to make reusable pad standards. So all that, we have to remember that if you're KEBS certified or UBS certified, you have to keep to those standards. And that is a process. It requires a lot of structure and thought about it. But we can share that with you.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if there are any questions, any comments that you'd like to make, to do, to ask. Please feel free to open your mics and speak up.
Hello.
Hi.
So I'm Charles from Rabunde Toweza community-based organization in Sierra. What I want to comment on is about the packaging of the sanitary pads. I've seen some of your pads. You do a very nice packaging, and then I know
You're breaking up, Charles. Is it me or is he breaking up?
It's breaking.
team to do the education about menstrual hygiene. Even mothers, the work you're doing is quite great. And as that lady from Uganda have said, would like partnering with you. We too in Ramunde, I know we've exchanged some of couple of mails with you, but it's a conversation that we would like going on about our partnership. So you're doing great.
I'm sorry if you asked a question, we kind of missed it because you broke up a little bit. Did you have a question?
Yes, I was only commending you for the good job we are doing. Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a question in the chat, Madhvi. Sylvia Maru says, I would like to ask about sanitation and in places where water is an issue, how do you handle that? I believe you can answer aloud too, if that would help.
Yeah, basically, Sylvia, it's just a technique we share during our workshops with demonstrating. It's as easy. I mean, if somebody asked me in a one sentence, I would just say if they have enough water to wash their underwear, they should be able to wash these. This is how they're designed. Anyone else want to ask something?
I don't know if my mic is working. You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. Okay, the reason why I was asking, so currently I'm in Kakuma. We've been giving out sanitary towels, but however, they're not reusable, so they were synthetic. And one of the approaches that we actually want to do for the project is see how we can train refugee-led organizations to be able to produce, the reusable sanitary towels. So my major issue is just on the sanitation and how we'd be able to make sure that they would have enough water. And I like the suggestion that you've given about working with sanitation organizations. So you're also making me think on how I'll collaborate with wash programs in order to make sure that there's availability of water. We all acknowledge that the challenges are the same. Sex is being used as a tool for, to acquire basic needs for a girl. And, when you're looking at basic food needs, you're just looking at clothing, food, and shelter. However, when it comes to the girls, it's different. And there's the need of just looking at it as, people don't look at sanitary towels as an asset. And it's an asset in many angles, looking at it as a social asset, as a cognitive asset, as a health asset, it's in every component. If I'm healthy, if I have proper sanitary, provincial, then I'm sure that I'm going to be healthy. I'll not have infections. If I'm having sanitary towels, then it means I'm not going to think so much. My mental state will be okay. So it's good that we have such an avenue just to share and see how we can support girls in different settings, just to have proper healthcare when it comes to menstrual hygiene, proper healthcare when it comes to sexual reproductive health. And we just look at sexual reproductive health beyond just the bleeding, and to see how we are going to sustain their health, so that when the time is right, if they choose they want to be mothers, there'll be no complications because of the things that they faced, whether they got pregnant and decided to have abortion from from somebody who's not a practitioner. The consequences are so many that they face. So I'm really glad, and kudos to your team. You're doing an amazing job. I'm really proud of you guys. Yeah, so thank you.
No, thank you, Sylvia. And I wanted to tell you, places like Kakuma or Dadaab, even for example, they already have a huge plastic pollution problem. And incineration really is not the answer. They dig the hole, they dump the disposable pads in there. So even people who are supporting through disposable pads, it's then going to cause a secondary issue, which already we can see. So I would really encourage you to find the reusable solutions, and then it's even better because it actually lasts a long time. So once you've served one population, you don't really need to go back to that same place. For me, I would for sure encourage that. Okay, I think if nobody else has any questions, thank you for coming.
Yeah. Just before we end, I just have some disclaimers from the Catalyst Now organization. We have the thank you from PadMa. So if you want to do Madhvi, so if you want to finish, please feel free to.
No, I just want to just point out that this is my email address. If anybody wants to get in touch, please do.
Yeah, and there's also the email on the chat, so if it's easier for everyone to reach Madhvi. This was an event part of the Catalyzing Change Week. We are part of the Catalyst Now. It's a dynamic global movement. We work with governments, organizations, social innovators all across the globe. So if there's any ideas for collaborations, or if you just like to be part of our network, please feel free to register yourself through this link, or even through our website. You can access this membership application form. We also like to thank our ecosystem partners, Skull Foundation, Swal Foundation, Echoing Green, One Family Foundation, and the Ashoka, as well as many partners and supporters that have been making our work possible. And this is one of the last days. We have 2 or 3 more days of Catalyzing Change Week. We still have a lot of events, very interesting ones. Today, tomorrow, and even on Saturday, we have some. So feel free to go and attend any others. And we also have our social media platforms where you can find us via our name. And if you'd like to keep up with what we are doing, there's our newsletter and, once again, our website. Thank you so much for everyone that joined. This was an inspiring session, and it was truly incredible to listen to all the efforts that are happening across not only Africa but across the globe. And thank you so much for being here, Madhvi, and everyone.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.